What do you get when you are born in one country, raised in another, and reside in a third? The answer is a mind filled with creativity and connections to culture. Meet M.H. Sarkis, a Lebanese-born, Nigerian-raised and London-residing artist whose paintings are the result of private cross-cultural experiences and an unusual personal reality.
I was always drawing growing up. I liked sharing my work with adults, and but I knew I wanted to take it professionally when I left Lagos. I went to the UK, and suddenly I saw that this, was kind of my new base. And so I was trying to figure out how can I reconcile my past in Lagos as a migrant and bring it to my present state. And so a lot of the time the canvas provides that convergence of these different disparate elements. Some really recent pieces, they were done this year or towards the end of last year, most of them. And actually there are a couple done just a few days before the show. And basically it brings together a lot of notions of cross-culturalism, and within that it's multi-layered. So within cross-culturalism there can be cross-cultural harmony, cross-cultural tensions. There can be notions of otherness, which really intrigues me. I'm interested in lesser-known stories, lesser-known realities. And when I came across an archival image of Senegalese soldiers who were under the French forces and deployed in Lebanon, because Lebanon was also a French colony, that was something that really intrigued me. And I could see a further connection between Lebanon or the Middle East, West Africa, or Sub-Saharan Africa. And that really, inspired me given my background as well. There's always underlying themes that will always be there, but with regards to style, there is a coherent style throughout each. But I employ that carving technique, my technique of digging into the fresh workable paint in varying degrees at times. So it's not always the same. Not every piece is the same or done in exactly the same way.
In Sarkis's work, notions of cultural tensions or unity, colonialism and identity appear subtly through a play on contemporary portraiture and figuration involving a characteristic carving technique. Here, figures are not simply figures, but potential sources of friction or harmony.
There's issues of femininity as well, threaded throughout some of these pieces. So it's elevating the female form into something quite sculptural, something to be, looked at and admired, and at the same time bringing in an issue that may not be seen as, beautiful or widely talked about, which is checking regularly for lumps, such as in one of my pieces called Health Check. Tina is an Igbo lady. This piece was done from life. It's very detailed, it's quite intricate, and bringing in a 3D dimension towards contemporary portraiture, something sculptural. And at times, especially in this piece, you can see the lines between sculpturally influenced markings and actual scarification markings are blurred. So that's another interest of mine, is blurring lines between what you expect and blurring cultural lines at the same time.
Sarkis introduces some of her favorite pieces.
The South Sudanese series are based on real-life people that I know personally, and I was intrigued with their background, given that they're a recently established country, that is South Sudan, in 2011, and they're previously part of Sudan, which is not only an African country, but Sudanese people also see themselves as Arab, or they are Arab. And these individuals speak Arabic themselves. So that was something that really interested me, again, that a clash or a coming together of these disparate cultures. And so I wanted to bring that in through the portraiture. This is for me at least, it's a very traditional Middle Eastern pattern. And it can be seen on a lot of woodwork, on a lot of backgammon tables. And this is also very personal because this is an actual image of a backgammon that has been in my family for decades. So I managed to incorporate that in the lips and in the cigarette. At the heart of it all, I like to challenge expectations. I like to challenge if there are any preconceived notions about background, about culture, about identity. That is the underlying message or theme to the show.
Exposure can be beautiful, especially if it is on positive things. And M.H. Sarkis is a testament that it's not just about where you are from, but what you take with you as you move on.
Hadiza Ladi Kwali, a Nigerian porter who redefines the profession and brought a lot of prestige to it. Born in 1925 in the village of Kwali in the Gwari tribe in Niger State, northern Nigeria, where pottery was a common occupation among women. She learned the craft as a child using the traditional method of coiling and pinching. She didn't have any formal education, but was awarded a doctorate for being a success in this occupation. In 1954, she joined Cardew's Pottery Training Center as the only female potter at the time, but she distinguished herself spinning pots that were noted for their beauty of form and aesthetics using the traditional hand building and decoration techniques. Most of these were glazed and fired in a high-temperature kiln and therefore represent an interesting hybrid of traditional African with Western studio pottery. She became Nigeria's best-known porter, and in the 1950s, her work was shown to great acclaim in London at the Berkeley Galleries, and was then awarded a doctorate and even made an MBE in 1963. The Abuja pottery was renamed the Ladi Kwali pottery. Her picture is also at the back of the 20 Naira note with so many other awards and recognition, all in her honor. She passed on in 1984. You can enjoy Art House on any of these platforms.
I'm keeping my word this week by taking a couple of your messages. At Tunji_Oluwashino says, how can I make inquiries about some of the beautiful works of art? So lovely. Well, I'll definitely hook you up with some of the artists, not a problem at all. Then at Iron88998536 just wrote, love it, love it, love it. Then Emmanuel says, I saw your program on television. It was so interesting. Never knew art was so much fun. Keep up the good work. Well done. Thank you so much, Ima. I really appreciate that. It's always a pleasure to show you all these lovelies every week. So many things are happening in the creative world in Africa, and trust Art House to bring it to you. But tell us what's happening in your neck of the woods. Hit me online on any of our platforms. I'm Melinda Akilami. Thank you so much for watching.